All right, guys, welcome back. We're here at the PCS Open, and it's going to be an awesome time. This is the first time in Norway since last year, so let's do it. All right, we got hole one here, 124 meters downhill. Always have a left-to-right wind on this hole. It's almost a steady left-to-right wind. I like to basically take a forehand, aim at like one of the last flags on the right, and just kind of let the crosswind kind of carry it and take it. It's really cool having the aiming point, looking over at the fjords and the mountains. So let's do it. Yeah, like I said, this wind's almost always a left to right wind, so you can really get dialed at throwing a couple shots here and really knowing exactly what your disc's gonna do once it gets out there. That was a little bit low, so I'm gonna throw a little bit higher and let the wind have a chance to kind of lift it up. That one I threw a little bit too forward. So yeah, this one I'll throw a little bit higher, make the adjustment, and let the wind take it. That should be a lot better. Cool, that one should be better. Threw a little higher and let the crosswind kind of have a chance to take it over to the right. All right, so a shot like that, the first one I threw my understable venom and it just pushed straight, kind of pushed through the crosswind. And I threw a little bit more overstable with the second one. And as you saw, it had the right amount of glide and got the push that it needed to get up there for a putt. So that's on a crosswind shot like this, throwing it understable versus overstable makes a big difference on your line. And that was the difference between being inbounds and out of bounds on this shot. So hole one, venom. All right, we got hole two, par three, 104 meters, uphill, pretty self-explanatory shot. Basically take like a hyzer flip fairway driver kind of at the rocks and just let it slowly drift. You don't want to drift too far because they have the right to left slope. So you want to just kind of land somewhere between the basket and the rocks. And this tree on the left side of the fairway is kind of a good tree to use as an aiming point to start your shot there and let it drift right. That was good, just a little bit low, so I'll throw. To ruin my disc. I think it's gonna be flippy now. Same shot, just a little bit higher this time. Or the same shot, right too low. Oh. I know, I'm gonna throw one more. Throw this one a little bit higher. First two, just kind of threw it a little bit too low. That's better. All right, throw it higher, we'll be good. All right, so this is the one I threw a little bit too low, hit the rocks and kind of skip up onto this flat. I had the line right and the speed just a little bit low. This grass is pretty long grass up here, so you can throw it and really pretty much right where it lands, it's gonna stick there, which is always good to know. Oh, but yeah, just really this hole is right all about the height. Throwing the height, getting the line, and just hitting right where you, like I said, right where you hit, your disc's gonna stick because this grass is nice and long. So it's always good to know the speed of the greens when you're throwing shots in here. All right, we got hole three, 123 meter par three. This one got pushed back from 2 years ago when the Pro Tour was here. So a little longer, it used to be kind of pin high with that rock, about 40 feet past that rock. It's a pretty good hole, straight tunnel shot. I'm gonna throw a beat up onyx. And on tunnel shots like this, I like to start them at like the left side of the tree with like a flippier disc and kind of drift it into the fairway, as opposed to like starting it in the middle with a flippy disc and kind of drifting it and hitting right side tree. So I'm gonna start left side, something a little bit flippy. Just like that, and hopefully hyzer a little bit, maybe not. So a little bit too flippy on that, but I can always start that a little bit further left and then start drifting. This one's gonna be a little bit more stable, plus we have a little bit of a wind, so. There we go, that's a lot better. Maybe a little bit too far, but it's always good to, for me, when I have gap shots like this, I always would rather go too far than too short. It just makes you hit the gap. Because you'd always rather hit the gap too far and be long, as opposed to drifting off short left or right. And yeah, gives you a little bit more confidence hitting gaps. So my first one hit this corner tree, probably just trickled out. I'm gonna go putt for my second one where I made the adjustment. And just cause, you know, I feel like I'm pretty confident hitting this gap. But yeah, it's good to know. I mean, anytime you throw a bad shot, you learn from it. Learn the intricacies of the hole, and I just know to start it more on this left side and drift it into the gap like I was talking about. This one was just a little bit flippier and wanted to push this right side. So the second one's a little bit more stable, onyx, and give me a little better putt. I threw this one a little bit long, which is okay, because on a gap shot like this, it's, you know, you just want to hit the gap. Anything through the gap, past the gap, all the trees, give yourself a putt. Really kind of eliminates that chance for getting a bogey for the most part. So anytime you can do that is always good. See if we can make a longer putt here. There we go. But yeah, through the Onyx, this one's the orange one here is my more stable one. And that first one was just got that little bit too much drift. So just making little changes here and there through the practice round, finding the disc that fits each hole. I think that's super important. Instead of forcing a disc, pick a disc you can throw on your natural flight and it's gonna fly through the fairway. All right, hole 4, 325 feet, 99 meters. And this hole is an awesome hole. Got a cool visual with the rock wall on this right-hand side. And in order for me, when I'm breaking down this hole, throwing it, is I definitely want to fade as far left as I can, just to make sure I'm not hitting that rock wall. So how I counter that is throwing a little bit more overstable, playing 20, 30 feet right. And you do have a left to right slope, so your disc, even if it's an overstable disc that normally would skip, it's gonna trickle and not skip as much just because of the slope. So trying to not really park it, trying to go 25, 30 left just to counter that and make sure I get left of the rock wall, because anything right's OB. So that's pretty much exactly what I'm going for there. Should hit and skip about 25, 30 left right there. Try one more. It's more that I'm throwing a hyzer. It looks like it's a straight shot, but I'm actually just throwing a hyzer out of the gap. And that's kind of how you make the hole. Try to break it down. Just like that, same exact shot. That one's a little bit farther left, so it's gonna, but as you can see, it didn't really skip much. So once it got into that left to right slope, it just kind of hit and stuck. And it's muddy, so it's also, got to pay attention to the course conditions. If it's muddy, is the green up there fast, slope of it, just like the other hole back here is a Velcro grass. This one's pretty similar just because the way your overstable disc coming into the green. So let's go up there and putt. All right, so here's the rock wall that we were seeing from the tee pad, as you guys saw. It's a really cool visual, but definitely don't want to throw your disc over there. But let's walk up here to the green. You guys can kind of see pretty long grass. And when discs are coming in, the left side is the most safe side of the green. You obviously have a little bit more challenge because you are putting downhill into the wind with a pretty intimidating view with the mountains back there in the water. So this one's kind of worst case scenario. I hyzered as far left as I could, but as you can see, I probably just hit right where my disc hit is probably where it landed. I didn't hit back there and skip here. I probably just landed right here because of this upslope. So all those little things definitely make a big difference on the shot and what you're trying to achieve here. So we'll take a couple. My first one, that might go in the OB. So that's kind of the sketchy part about this, but I mean, when I'm dialed in with the putt, normally it doesn't do that. But it's definitely, that's part of the trickiness of the green, is if you do miss, you're opening yourself up for that kind of stuff happening. But yeah, I mean, that 30 footer is probably the farthest away I'm gonna get. If you hit the gap with an overstable disc, more times than not, it's gonna be 25, 30, something like that. But fast green, happens sometimes. All right, we got hole 5, 292 feet, 89 meters. One of the coolest holes, short hole, but it's got so much character, and that's what I love about it. Gates of Valhalla, got the top triple mando, side to side and high to low. But this hole is new with these rocks. There's rocks in front of it, so you can't just throw it low and skip to it. So you really gotta have some good speed control. I like to take a flippy putter and kind of use this left side and kind of drift into the middle, kind of like I did a couple holes back with the distance driver. I'm gonna throw that same shot, but just with a putter. So I like to use this left side tree as a aiming point, throw it there with flippy putter, and then try to turn into the gap. That's pretty much exactly like I like. And I like the flippy play because whenever you hit the ground like that, it's not gonna wanna skip forward. If you throw a overstable putter and you hit the wood chips, it's gonna wanna flare forward, and there is OB long that comes in pretty quick. So if you're hitting flippy, it's gonna kill the speed and just kind of stick right where it lands. So try one more and try to throw a similar shot. That one's probably gonna hit the rocks maybe. Okay, got over it. So, but as you see, it still skipped even with it being flippy. And so you can imagine if it's overstable putter, how far that's gonna skip. So speed makes a big difference, the angle that you're landing on a downhill shot like this. All right, so here's my first one and my second one, both pretty much parked. I think that this hole definitely, it makes a difference on this hole, whether it's windy or not. Today it's pretty calm, so it's pretty easy birdie, but still gotta throw a good shot. Those rocks are strategically placed to where you gotta throw a good height, good speed, good angle. Everything's gotta be good. So it's a really good short par 3, a lot of character. Gotta get the birdie. All right, hole 6, 208 meters, which is 682 feet, par 4. And it's a dogleg left type of hole where you want to land left, but also if you get too much skip, there is OB that comes into play. It kind of like goes at like a 45-degree left and then back around a corner to a pond with a basket just past the pond. So definitely want to throw like an overstable disc. We always, headwind, a lot of these winds on these holes are very similar, so you can kind of prepare for a certain wind direction with certain discs and stability that you will get in the tournament, because it's, like I said, it's very almost similar wind almost every time I played out here. So that's always good. It makes it a little bit easier to read the wind, having been able to throw the right disc and take that same disc out in the tournament as you would in a practice round like I am right now. So I'm gonna throw a force, just kind of try to ride this right side and try to skip. My ideal landing zone is basically like this way. So I'm trying to throw out here, get a skip, and then land at this 45 left, and that sets me up for a good shot into the pin. So that's gonna be a little bit low maybe, but we'll see if it skips. Okay, not super skip. That's not the best spot because it's a little tucked. I wanna be about more 30 feet, 40 feet more left. So let's see if we can't throw the shot a little more high, a little higher, get a little bit more glide. There we go, that's much better. So that one should be, let's hit that tree. So yeah, that's gonna be good. Yep, so we got that skip, like that first one didn't. So I just threw a little bit more overstable, a little bit higher, so that kind of had that time to glide and push and then fade left, whereas that first one just kind of went to the ground because it was too overstable. So it sounds weird, but like throwing a little bit straighter disc on hyzer around a corner with hyzer like this makes a big difference. First drive here, and as you can see, there's not much to scramble. There's just solid trees pretty much everywhere. There's one shot over the top, but there is OB long, so it's really not, that's not really an option, I wouldn't say. So yeah, as you can see, I threw it in the fairway, but I'd much rather be 40 or 50 feet left. From here, it's just a chip around the corner, take my par. I'm gonna walk up to my second one so I can practice from the landing zone that I'm trying to land in and hopefully land in, and we'll go from there. All right, so here's my drive, and even this one's a little bit further right than I would want. I'd much rather be even shorter, but 40 or 50 feet left, just because it opens up this gap. This is still fine, but it's super short and it's a little bit chopped off. I'd like to have a better angle, but I mean, this is still totally fine. So I'm just gonna try to throw this one high and soft. I only have probably 120 feet, so it's just kind of a touch shot, something like that. So yeah, it's hard. This shot's hard to park just because it's like over here, but you have to throw out this way. So you basically just gotta be content with like 20 feet. You know, you can't really park it unless you get super aggressive, which is eliminating the chance at a birdie. So yeah, let's get up there and show the green. All right, so as you can see the green, this gap is definitely lined up over here. The basket's obviously there, but it's hard to, like I said, you can park it for sure. It's hard to really park it with the way the trees are strategically placed. But yeah, throwing the zone on the upshot, I like that. The venom on the drive. But yeah, as you can see, the drive is super important. If you don't throw a good drive, upshot doesn't matter. You're just laying across the pond and basically just laying up, trying to make a long, 80-footer for a birdie. So gotta throw a good drive if you want to get a birdie. Definitely a thrower's course out here. All right, we got hole 7, par 4, 558 feet, 170 meters. It's gonna be a buzz shot fairway. I'm gonna go with a buzz right now. Just trying to throw basically 350. Just try to throw it dead straight. You wanna favor left side because we are going back right. So anytime that happens, you wanna make sure to favor the left. We have a little bit of a left to right cross. So that's pretty much what I wanna do. It's gonna land straight, hopefully fade a little bit left, yeah. So that should be, I'm just gonna throw 1 because that's pretty much ideal. And that's a good shot. We'll get up there and see what kind of angle we have and see if we need to make an adjustment from there. All right, so through the buzz into the perfect spot. We're in the fairway, but we don't have a good lie because it's pretty swampy. But we only have about 200 feet to the basket. OB right, there's a tree on the left that pushes you further right than you want to. So you kind of have to challenge that tree on the left a little bit so that way you don't challenge the OB. Kind of a intricate upshot, even though it's straight and short. Okay, that worked out. So I went a little bit long, so I need a little bit, it was probably like 20 feet, but I hit the gap. Should just have about a 20-footer left. Should be good. So the tree on the left that I was talking about is right here. That kind of defines this left side fairway. And then that makes you want to push this right side, which you also do have this OB. So that's what makes this shot a pretty intricate. If you hit any of these trees, a lot of times it likes to filter out of bounds and not back safe. So it's definitely important to have the right angle and speed, which I went a little bit hot. So I did throw a TI zone. So how I can counter that is throwing a softer plastic zone. because I probably hit in here on the wood chips and skipped another 20 feet. Whereas if I hit here with like a jawbreaker, softer plastic, it's gonna wanna stick right here, as opposed to skipping a little bit further like this TI one did. So just those little things, just a plastic change can affect how far your disc skips on a green like this. So got the birdie, really all about, once again, that landing zone's like not very big, 10 or 20 feet wide. If you're not in it, it's a super awkward angle. You don't even have a chance to really get up and down for that birdie. So buzz zone, focus, got the birdie. Hole 8, 108 meters, 358 feet, plays uphill. So it probably plays about 30 feet further than the actual distance. So closer to 380, something like that. But I'm gonna throw a venom. Try to favor this left-hand side. There's 2 guardian trees that you want to just go right of. So I'm trying to go right of that. Even that looks like it's going to hyzer into the woods, but it should be probably, yeah, hit something. So that's probably a 30, 40 footer. I want to get a little bit more push on this next one. Go a little bit straighter. And then hyzer like that. So that should be good. Yep, that's pretty much what I'm looking for. That should be about 25, 30 short. A little bit better line. Didn't hyzer as quick as that first one, but that right side is something you want to favor because a lot of trees over there to stop your disc and give you an open putt. All right, so play from this one. It's the one that just went pretty much dead straight, didn't really hyzer or turn, just kind of went dead straight and got left at like about 35, 40. So that's definitely a viable option, throwing the venom pretty much straight on the forehand and giving yourself that putt. But like I said, that first one, I also did throw to the right. If I throw it too much hyzer and go into these trees, and I'm sitting at 35, 40 feet, I'm fine with that as well. So doesn't have to be a perfect shot, just gotta be a putt. Get yourself a look on this hole, can be tricky. So yeah, all about getting that high percentage look. Closer, the better, but definitely not super important to be parked. Just wanna be getting putts out here. All right, hole 9's a new hole, 166 meters, 545 feet. You kind of have 2 desired routes. You got this right side, you got this left side. You could throw high, but it's hard to keep your disc in the fairway because it's so high, it's gonna wanna fade or turn, and you kind of just gotta get lucky. I like this, the higher percentage, probably just throw it straight with like a mid-range. I'm gonna throw a buzz, and just kind of try to throw in that one tree that's in the gap, try to throw it somewhere near that, and that's a visual that I know is gonna line up with the fairway. So if I can hit that tree, it's gonna be a tough shot. I'm gonna have to take a couple because I haven't thrown this route yet. And it's a lot more high risk. If you hit any of these trees, it's gonna wanna bounce into who knows where. But I'm gonna try it, see where I can land. Oh, see, that was just a bad shot, but got lucky, land in the middle. I'm gonna try one more on that route, see if I can't hit it better. So I think that might be all right. I got a little bit slipped. I almost hit this right side tree, but it's a good shot to get through the gap, kind of see where that's gonna leave me as far as the speed, angle, and line, all that stuff. I do think that's the best point A to point B spot to get yourself the birdie look. So I'm gonna go up there and throw from there. Definitely not in the fairway per se on this shot. Through the buzz, hit a tree and kind of bounced into this area. So it's kind of a scramble shot to try to get up there for a putt down this kind of left side gap. So obviously can't do a run up. I gotta stand still because of the slope that I'm on. So I think just getting through this gap somewhere just like that should be probably 25, 30 feet. Cool. So yeah, I'll kind of show you guys the landing zone. I didn't hit it this time as it's pretty tough to land in, but the tree that we're looking at from the fairway is this tree. So you know, if you land anywhere near here, in theory, it's a good angle to the green. As you can see, it's still tough. If anything, you want to be right side of this because you have a little bit more of an open gap to the green. So left side's a little bit more cut off. Even if you're in the woods like I was, there's some fairways you can find a shot. So definitely knowing the landing zone, knowing the tree, and I want to land right side of that tree, super important on this fairway. My second shot from that awkward lie parked it, so that's always nice. But yeah, I threw a good shot. Probably hit somewhere in the wood chips over there and skipped right to the basket through the Raptor. That's a good shot. So I did, like I said, knowing to be right of that tree in the fairway, key. From there, you can scramble no matter where you're at. All right, hole 10, we got 502 feet, 153 meters, and it is a par 4. We have a flex shot, basically a forced flex. This is just a one-shot hole. Forced flex, you can see the one tree on the left side that kind of defines this left side that you want to be right of. So I'm going to throw my Raptor kind of at that tree, knowing that it's gonna turn a little bit and then fade. The fairway is like over here. So I'm throwing a shot over stable disc that I can get past this white tree on the left and then fade and skip back left, because the fairway is over that 45-degree left kind of area. So kind of throw it soft, give it time to get that nose up flight forward, and then fade back left. Not quite enough turn. That's gonna be early and probably hit something. So that's just gonna be probably a par from there if that was in the tournament, but I'm gonna throw one more, try to hit the landing zone. Ah, too much. All right, so I throw left, I threw right. This one's gonna be good. It's a Raptor. I wanna throw in the right speed and right line so that way I can see where the good shots land and I can practice from there. There we go, that one should be good. Maybe a little too straight. So that was a good shot. I just threw it with my straighter disc. If I throw that same line with one of my overstable discs, it's gonna wanna turn. So I'll just kind of see where that is and just walk into the fairway. For me, when I'm practicing, yeah, you're not gonna throw every shot perfect, but I also, you know, on a shot like this, if I throw a shot in the woods left or right and don't throw it perfect, I wanna know where I can land from there, which is normally where I'd land my drive. So, you know, you're either getting up and down for birdie or trying to scramble for par from that area. So that's kind of how a lot of these par fours work, is when you throw a bad shot, you're laying up to a spot where your good drives would land. And so it's good to practice from there and know kind of the line, the angle, the speed from one main area on each hole. All right, so I didn't throw any good drives on this hole, which is all right, because if I go into the woods left or right, more than likely I'm probably just gonna chip out to a spot here, which I'm capable of throwing a drive. I didn't this time, but like I said, even if whether it's getting up and down for par or getting up and down for birdie, this is where I wanna land. So either way, I'm gonna be here. So if I land here and I'm trying to get up and down for par, I'm gonna throw a zone or a birdie, hopefully. Never know though, you gotta be ready for whatever the situation brings. So that's a zone. Got up there for, you know, a good putt. So yeah, I mean, I think the biggest, most important thing is lining yourself up with this initial gap. That gives you the best chance to get up and down. And like I said, even if it's for a par, I just got up and down through a great shot and I'm getting a par. This other one over here to the right is off the fairway, but it's still gonna have a good shot into the green because I'm so close to cut off a lot of distance. Should be able to scramble something. A little bit wide, but it should have a putt. Tricky par four, it's not long, it's only 500 feet as you see, but it's so narrow and tight, very forced gap, to where if you don't hit that gap, it's a tough scramble. Here's where my shot landed from the main landing zone. Like I said, whether I'm putting for par or putting for birdie, if I throw my shot dead straight with my zone, I know I'm gonna land somewhere in this spot. And so this is a good spot to, you know, like I said, I didn't really hyzer much, I just hit the gap, went straight, high percentage shot. So that sets me up for a good chance at the par or birdie save, whatever the hole brings. So that's super important. I think that's how it is a lot out here on the Pro Tour, is you want to throw good shots, but you got to have a main landing zone where you can get up and down, you feel comfortable from, and that's building your confidence, knowing that. So even if I throw a bad shot, I know what it takes to save the par. All right, we got hole 11, 110 meters, 360 feet. We do have one guardian tree on this left-hand side. As you can see, that big green tree on the left. It's definitely a guardian. It looks like a forehand would be good, but that tree kind of comes right into play. So I do like to counter that by throwing a backhand, because I can go right of it and kind of favor the open side of the fairway. Because if you hit that tree with a forehand and drop, you're gonna be out of bounds. Whereas if I can throw the backhand and just make sure to fade and turn and fade just right of it, that's kind of the more high percentage shot. So we got 360, a little downhill, not much wind. So I'm gonna throw just basically a turnover buzz. A little bit low, looks like. So that's safe, probably about 40, 50 feet short, good line. I'm just gonna throw this one a little bit higher. That one looks a lot better. So, yep, that one should be about 30 feet short, so I have to make the adjustment. You don't really want to throw long, so short is basically really what you want. You don't want to throw anywhere past the baskets out of bounds. You have all the room in the world short, so you want to be 30, 25, 30 short. Play it safe, take the putt. Don't risk going too glidey and getting too much distance and going OB and taking yourself completely out of the chance for getting the birdie. So we'll go up there, check out the green. So we're up here by the green. This tree, as you can see, is kind of strategically placed to where it makes your forehands want to push and favor this right side, which is definitely not what I want. Looks like my shots are kind of burning out a little bit short, So as you can see, I'm probably throwing the right amount of turn. I'm just scared to give it height just because I know that if I get a lift with this tailwind, it's gonna wanna go OB long. This is not ideal, but it's, you know, it's got a chance. I'd rather be here than OB by 2 inches and have no chance for birdie. So that's kind of the difference here. And the logic on this hole is always try to give yourself a chance, because you never know. Oops, a little bit short. But yeah, this is a good hole. I mean, this is the FPO, so basically just want to throw just at the FPO pin. It's not going to be in, but ideally, more times than not, for the higher percentage putts can be right in here. Just throw a little bit higher, get that little bit more glide, and should give yourself a higher percentage birdie putt. All right, we got hole 12, 689 feet, 210 meters. Forced flex down this left side, turn into the gap, and then fade back. The perfect shot for that for me right now is TI zone. And once again, it's kind of starting that disc on the left side, turning into the gap. If I start my disc in the gap and turn, that's gonna hit trees. So I think that's the best way for me, is starting on this left side with a straight to stable zone. And I'm really trying to land over here. So that tells you how overstable the zone has to be to kind of get back far enough left to be in the spot where I want to land. Oh, I clipped it, but that would have been totally fine if that just, you know, hit the right side tree by ½ an inch. So really not too upset with that shot. The result was bad, but the shot was pretty solid. So that's just straight. It's not going to hyzer much. So it's going to leave a tough upshot pretty far. All right, so I got my one good shot, the TI zone that landed here. Not ideal, a very tough shot. You can see there's a cutout bubble. So if you don't throw a good enough drive, it's just a chip up for par, which is, you know, you just gotta kind of make that decision. If you hit a tree like one of my first couple, it's just a layup to this bubble and chip up and down. This one I'm gonna have a chance to go for it because I got a little bit more of an open shot. I see that white tree left side of the fairway. I'm trying to just throw just right of that, try to squeeze my shot onto the green with an onyx. Something, if it hits that white tree, that's so funny. They're like perfect, right? Exactly where I was aiming. Try one more, that was pretty much ideal. I mean, obviously not the result, but the line and speed and everything was pretty much perfect. So I'm gonna try one more here. That was literally the exact same shot. Just, I mean, result-wise, like I said, I don't get too married to results because the results, you know, definitely lie. That one I hit another tree and bounced right to the basket, but it was literally the exact same shot as the first one. So yeah, I know that, you know, if I can land it somewhere in this area, I can throw the onyx, and that should be the good line and speed that I need to get up there. First one, OB by ½ an inch, basically a perfect shot. Second shot, onyx, exact same shot. It's parked, so tells you that results definitely lie sometimes, but it happens. But yeah, definitely gonna throw the onyx on the second shot. Yeah, it's all about the drive. Once again, that's the theme out here. Throw a good drive, you have a chance for birdie. You don't, there's no scrambling, you just have to lay up, because the second shots are very technical from out of position. All right, we got 728 feet, 222 meters, par 4, straight, dogleg left is the shot. I'm gonna throw a venom. I always like to see two trees to define left and right side fairway. You can see the slanted tree, that's right side fairway. And there's left trees in the middle there. That's kind of the left side and right side where you kind of want to start fading in between those. Like if you hit those like a field goal and skip left, that's pretty much ideal. Also, if I just throw it straight into those rocks long, that's also not so bad. But if you go past the rocks, that's kind of the definition of the fairway to where you pretty much have no shot. So those are all the things that I'm thinking about. I'm gonna throw a venom. Got a little bit of a left to right wind, so it's gonna wanna push to the right. I had to counter that by throwing a little bit more hyzer than I normally would. So that's pretty much perfect, dead straight. That sets me up for pretty much a wide open hyzer from there. All right, so my first one's ideal, right in the middle. I played just right of this leaning tree, and obviously left of that tree, that was the left and right separators for the fairway. Now I'm gonna throw it high. Anytime obviously you wanna throw high into the wind, you gotta know exactly what's gonna happen with the wind. So we have a right to left, so I'm gonna have to throw it a lot more wide with a little more spike, because if I throw it more spike, it's gonna wanna go to the ground. If I throw glide, it's gonna wanna glide left. So I want it to kind of go to the ground, not glide. So I'm gonna throw a cap wrap just to try to avoid that. So throw it high right, should get a nice lift left, crash somewhere up there, just like that. And that's pretty much putting. It's pretty much all you want. There's such a crapshoot up there. You're gonna roll and all kinds of stuff. Ideally, you want to throw up the gap, but there really is not much of a gap. You kind of have to throw high and roll the dice. It's kind of the only play. So I'm gonna throw this one again, same shot, try to get a good result. Same deal, it's probably crash up there and have a 20, 30 foot or something like that. But yeah, just gotta pay attention to what the wind's doing up high. And that's kind of the big variable on this second shot. You know, sometimes you can go OB, but I mean, more times than not, you just hit and crash somewhere in these bushes up here. I'm landed right here, which is fine. A little bit hot on the putt. But yeah, this hole definitely, as you can see, whenever you get high like this, you're hitting into these trees, and a lot of times they do like to roll right. I mean, if you roll out of bounds, you're still pretty much tapping in for par with a chance to get a birdie. So yeah, my second one, the green one up there is parked, got a better crash job. Wasn't necessarily a better shot, just got a better crash, better roll of the dice with that one. So as you guys know, I'm not getting too married to the results of the shots. Just know I throw it in the right area, and that's all you can do. All right, we got hole 14, 128 meters, 420 feet, and it is a kind of an S shape. You want to throw something that kind of starts off left side fairway, turns. I'm just basically trying to throw a turnover. It looks like you want to throw flex, but a lot of times holes like this, you just throw one angle, throw a flex turnover that never really comes back, and you're still sitting at about 25, 30 feet. As opposed to trying to get cute and throw the perfect disc, it's a lot easier to go left or turn too early. Keep it simple, one angle shot. Throw it, start on the left side, turn, and just try to get up there and not really try to park this hole, because it's a tough par 3. Oh, shoot. Early release on that one. Try the Venom. A little better, but it's still going to be too straight. Yeah, I just ran into the tree. So that was a good shot. Just want to have a little bit more turn on it. I'm going to try throw, let's see here. I'm going to throw another Onyx. That one was that was a better shot result-wise, but it still wasn't exactly hitting the fairway. I want to be a little bit further to the right than that last one. And that takes you to the most open side of the fairway, which is that right side. This is a fun putt. Got a tree right in the way. But I see a spot high. If I go high over that limb, kind of elevator putt it. We'll see if we can make it. Oh, so close. But yeah, that's kind of how this hole is. It's a par 3. If you don't throw it perfect, you're kind of left at that range, 70, 80 feet with an awkward putt. If you throw a good shot, you can get up there for a high percentage birdie putt like one of my second or third shots did. Probably just up here about 25, 30 feet left of the pin with a decent percentage to make that. Easy birdie, we'll see. Bag on birdie. Bag on birdie, always good. All right, hole 15, 246 meters, 858 feet. One of the longer par 4s out here, and it's got a really cool tiered green. When you get up there, we'll check that out. But for now, it's pretty much just a dead straight distance shot, kind of a turnover, land flat. You don't want to lose it left. We have a crosswind, and we're going uphill, so everything's going to want to start fading left at the end of its flight. So you do have to counter it by throwing flippier, throwing a little bit more turnover, because you know that everything is naturally going to want to push you to that left-hand side. So let's throw a Venom, pretty much dead straight. I don't want a hyzer, just want to go straight. I kind of been thinking about throwing this left to right anhyzer gap just to make sure I can get that anhyzer turn. We'll throw here for now. So I threw the right line just a little low. Try one more. Too struggling with my release right now. Throw one more Venom. Try to hit it perfect. Throw right line, right speed, and height. A little too much turn. So it didn't hit the landing zone, but we'll go up there and throw a couple shots from the first one. So I'm basically just pitching up for a basically just play for par type situation. I'm probably 600 feet with OB all over the place. So it's mostly just pitch up. This is one of the harder par 4s out here for sure. So, you know, if you don't throw it, once again, perfect off the tee, which is kind of the name of the game. Yeah, if you're left back here throwing it too low, I threw a good line, it's too low, got pushed by the wind. Anytime you throw a turnover and a crosswind, it's gonna wanna push down, and that's kind of what happened. But yeah, even if you throw a good shot, you're still left 420, 430 into a crosswind with a tiered raised green, so it's tricky par 4. I really like it though. So I'll throw one from right here. This is kind of the spot where if you normally throw a good shot, you'll land right in this area. So it's got a right to left wind, just right of that wooden post. If you turn it over a little bit right, you're OB, and it's easy to get a lift and go OB left. So this is a really specific shot. So that looks like it should be pretty good. We'll see if it has a good result or not. Okay, so that looks like it's probably OB left. Really good shot. Try one more. Pretty much exactly what I want. So probably skipped OB, but I'm not too worried about it. I threw a good line and everything. This one I'm gonna try to throw more spike so it doesn't get a skip at the end like that last one did. So that one looks like it's gonna be lost left as well, probably, unless it spikes. Okay, that one spiked, so it should be good. So that's the difference between spiking in the green and getting a glide finish into the green. Like that first one glided and skipped. Second one spiked and stuck. So that's the difference between being inbounds and out of bounds. And that's why distance is so important. If you have the distance to throw a spike hyzer, it's easier to land soft on the green and spike in. So the one that glided definitely went OB just like I thought. And the one that spiked was inbounds and had the birdie putt. So as you saw the difference between the finishes into the green, makes a big difference to know exactly how you want your disc to come into the green, whether it's glidey or spiky or not spit out. All right, we got hole 16, 185 meters, 607 feet. And it's pretty much a dead straight shot. We can see the hole 16 sign, that tree on the left side. You want to just go maybe 5 feet right of that, finish straight. We do have a downslope to the left, so if your disc's hyzering out, it's going to want to skip and fade and feed to that left side. So you want to counter that by throwing a little bit lower, so that way you don't have to give your disc too much time to go to the right. But yeah, I'm aiming at that hole 16 tree, turning it just right of it, trying to land dead straight. That's pretty much exactly what I want to do. We'll see when we get up there where it lands. But yeah, threw it just at that tree. Knew my disc was going to turn a little bit into the gap. Should land flat. Give me a good look into the downhill green with some out of bounds left and right. So that makes the drive super important because the upshot is very tight and narrow. So if you're out of position trying to attack this green out of position, very tough, high likelihood to go out of bounds. So puts a premium on the drive. All right, so here's my drive. Pretty much ideal. On top of this little shelf. Now we kind of got just a downhill kind of speed control shot with left to right pushing wind. And yeah, so it's really just a feel shot. I know I want to throw it nice and low and fade a little bit. Got the crosswind's going to push me a little bit more right. So definitely got to pay attention to that. We'll see if that's going to be too wide or not. Okay, so that was a little bit hot and got lucky, bounced off the rock. So once again, good result, but not a good shot. So I don't want to get married to that result, even though it worked my way. I want to throw a little bit softer, a little bit more touch, because the wind really wanted to push and carry it. So this wind is really pushing and carrying, making me want to go straight. So I got to counter that by throwing it a little bit more soft and touchy. That one's much better. See how that speed was much better on that shot? So definitely, you know, if I have this wind, this left to right wind, I'm kind of paying attention to that. And that's the adjustment between the two shots. That first one could have easily went out of bounds. Second one had no chance to go out of bounds. And that's what we're looking for. All right, so my second one, the good speed control, the first one, hit these rocks, should have been in that lake, really, to be honest. So this really isn't even a real spot where it should be landing. So I just know this one was a bad shot, that one's a good shot. Yeah, and that's the difference between that little bit of wind that makes a big difference on a downhill shot like this. But I like it. I think short par 4, only 500 feet. You need these intricate greens like this where you really got to make sure to control the speed, control the angle, everything like that. And the drive. I mean, you can throw putter, but it still doesn't mean it's easy hole. All right, we got hole 17, 155 meters, 508 feet. Once again, short on the distance, but super intricate and tricky on the line and the gaps you have to hit. We have OB placed long, so that's what makes this hole short. But the way the OB is placed, you can't really bite off that much distance. If you try to get too aggressive, the OB comes in real quick. So it's more of just, you know, you could even just throw a standstill, probably like chip shot around the corner. that's what probably I'm gonna do, just to make sure I don't get too much speed on my shot, because there's OB long. So how I counter that is just throw a standstill. That won't give me as much power to where I can probably really reach the green. But I wanna just miss or reach the OB. I just wanna miss this tree on the right, fade back right, probably just a 200, 250 foot shot. Really just wanna make sure to finish right. So just like that, that should be pretty much ideal. I'm gonna throw one more. That's a little bit early, but it still got kind of lucky. But yeah, we'll see where those two land. That doesn't look like much off the tee, but I think that's kind of what you want. All right, so I got the drive. It landed here. I want to definitely make sure to land short of the OB. This hole's tricky because you want to, the closer you land to the OB, the more open this gap is, but then also the more you're risking going OB and taking yourself completely out of chance of having a birdie look. So I'm gonna throw this second shot. It's not very long, but it's gonna play far. I'm gonna throw a buzz. It's probably only 300 feet, but it's gonna play like more like 350. And I'm gonna throw kind of just an uphill turnover, the backhand, start at these trees on the left and drift it into the gap. Ooh, that almost go in. That was so close. It looked like, I saw it shadow the basket. So I'm gonna try one more. That was a buzz. I'm try to replicate that shot. Try to just get some muscle memory on this second shot here. Yeah, so that looked good too. So once again, as you can see, I'm throwing, you know, a soft chip shot forehand and then a nice buzz shot to the green. These holes aren't super long, but very technical. Got a lot of intricate OB, uphill run-ups, different things like that make the holes tricky and give them their own character. And that's what we love about this course. All right, so my first buzz, probably buzzed the tower. But as you can see, definitely a tricky little shot. That gap's a little bit smaller than it looks from probably on camera. So you definitely have to throw a good shot to get through that gap and get somewhere up here. Good hole, fighting uphill the whole way. So you gotta hit the right angles, hit the right speed, and try to get up here for a putt. We got hole 18, 202 meter par 4, 683 feet. And it is dead straight shot the whole way. We've got OB line in this right side, kind of like a 45-degree right is the angle that you wanna take. I'm gonna throw a forehand, almost always, just like hole 1, kind of shooting the same direction. There's like a left to right wind that likes to carry and lift shots on a hole like this. And once again, a right to left slope on the fairway. So where your disc hits is a lot of times where it lands. It's not gonna wanna skip and have all this ground action. So definitely wanna throw it high, knowing that you're not gonna get much ground action. Oh, I'm gonna throw a Venom high and wide left side over the OB and then try to fade. I'm trying to go, a little, almost like I said, 45-degree right is where I'm trying to actually finish the disc. So that's exactly where I'm trying to throw it, right there, and then it should fade and push to the right with this wind, and exactly where I want. So that's, once again, as you saw how far wide left I put it, and it still had that nice finish. I'll try one more, and I'm just throwing that wide just because I know the wind's gonna wanna push it. This one I'm gonna throw a little bit more flex, a little bit more down the middle of the fairway. So that one's good too. So should get a little skip, but not much. As you see, like it's skipped like it wanted to go right, but it just went pretty much straight. So that's the biggest difference because we got this right to left slope. It's not letting the disc finish right. Got probably only like 200 to 220 feet into this basket. And I normally would throw a putter, but I'm gonna throw a nice soft Captain Raptor just because I know that grass up there is gonna absorb the fact that I'm throwing a distance driver into the green. So it's just gonna wanna stick and it's not gonna wanna skip. And I can use it to fight through the wind a little bit better where that putter's maybe gonna wanna push, even a zone. So the driver's, I think, a little bit better for me in this scenario. So that's pretty much exactly what I wanted to do. I got some claps, so that's always good. Try one more. Same exact shot. We'll see if I get a good result. So yeah, perfect shot. So yeah, as you can see, I'm throwing that driver to kind of fight that wind. If I throw the zone, it might want to get a little bit more push and have that chance to go OB. So yeah, really like that play. And once again, the good thing about out here is that whenever you get conditions in practice, a lot of times that's exactly what you're gonna get in the tournament. So the more reps you can get in these conditions, the better, and the more feel you're gonna have out there in the tournament once the tournament conditions and the tournament starts. So yeah, super important to get as much feel as you can out here. So looks like both of my Captain Raptors are parked. So always good to finish with a tap-in birdie on this hole. Yeah, thank you guys for joining me out here in Norway. It's gonna be an amazing week. And hopefully I can give myself a chance to win this week, coming down the stretch. Game's feeling good, and we are ready to go. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next week back in Norway, this time at Krokal. Thank you guys.